We're recording live from camp, during camp. We're in the gazebo.
I thought you guys were going to sing a song.
It is 90 degrees and humid.
No, Shea didn't even mention.
Yeah, I know, but we're happy to have her, at least for a little bit. Yeah, we have a real live counselor at camp. You guys knew Shea when she was, what, tiny? Like a junior camper, maybe?
Yeah.
Do you remember them?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you remember me?
No. Caroline and Kat. Yeah, I was like a CIT with Caroline was my assistant. Yeah. With a different Greg.
Yeah.
With the shoes.
There was, yeah, and we had birthdays also around the same time.
I think you're thinking of a different. Oh no, Greg.
Well,
Greg
Sam
was here.
Yeah, and Sam
Greg
Walpert and I
May.
actually share the same
Greg
birthday.
May
Oh.
became an engineer.
Greg May.
We went to UMass together.
Wow, shout
He
out
had
to
a bike.
UMass. Gotta love him. Shay, what's been, if you could sum up 2023 so far, what are like the high points so far?
Right now.
A lot of Taylor Swift.
Ooh, love that.
Phenomenal.
How much Taylor Swift?
3 songs a day.
All right.
What is the most prominently featured era at camp?
Bad Blood.
Oh, interesting.
That's
all
Quinn's.
right.
Here it is, on cue.
Oh, I thought you just heard that.
No, this is not, that goes beyond my
it's Taylor
purview.
Swift playing at the pool.
Yeah. So we've got Kat Nutting and Greg Kolber, 2 of the original Navajos. And Kat, you know from episode 2
Oh my
of
God.
Camp Time is Real Time. We recorded, I think, for like 3 hours.
We did.
We were just catching up. It was
Yes,
great.
yeah.
That was awesome. Greg, I haven't seen. Well, I saw you at the reunion, right? But before that, probably 20 years.
Give or take.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. So, Greg, I love that you have an outline. That's amazing.
I'm nothing else if not semi-prepared.
Yeah. So, is this your first time back at camp?
This is my first time back stepping on these grounds since 2006, but who's counting?
Okay.
So this is a very monumental occasion for me.
Yeah.
And to be here with my first counselor of the Navajos and with my best friend, Catherine Nutting, is also just mind-boggling.
So it happens here at camp. So what are the fields? How are you feeling about it?
So I think first impressions, the beautiful part is that everything is preserved literally just as it was. This is the only place where you can go on the entire planet where nothing has changed. And it's just this beautiful thing that archery looks the same, games looks the same, the field, yeah. Kelly is still reigning pool queen. It's amazing.
Of course. That's awesome. That's so good to hear. What do you got on your list there?
Oh, the old list. Let me just dust this thing off real quick.
The old list from this morning.
I've been hard at work. So we have a few things on the punch list. So first of which is I distinctly remember coming in hot. Yeah, if you, please come join us, Carrie.
You have anything to say? Oh, okay. What do you got?
So firstly, I distinctly remember a hotly debate between Kelly and I in terms of her determination trying to get me to learn how to dive in the swimming pool, and just being absolutely unable and unwilling to because I was afraid that I was going to somersault into the pool and smack my head on the side. Trisha was actually my saving grace, and so I used to sneak off to the nurse's office, and Trisha was like, this is perfectly acceptable to me because the 2 things that I hate most in life are being cold and being wet. So if you would like to hang out here with me, and
Trisha low-key let all the kids be fake sick during swim if they want.
See, I thought it was just me. I thought I was special. So this is news to me.
Trisha also brought to camp, I think, the Band-Aids with characters on them.
Yeah.
She was the first person to do that. Yeah.
Oh, we would go to before the week leading up to camp, we would go to the pharmacy and she'd just be like, pick out all the fun ones.
That's all. Yeah. Yeah. It was that, and then eventually, or at some point, it also led to Freezy Pops.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is also
is that still a thing? Do they still have Freezy Pops?
Do they do Freezy Pops at the nurse?
No, but not in the nurse.
Band-Aids aren't fun.
Oh.
How the mighty have fallen.
Edit that out.
Yeah, she didn't really say that.
Oh, yeah. Oh. Yeah, it was like, oh, you got hurt? Here's a fun Band-Aid and a Freezy Pop, and now you're fine.
Right. 5 minutes in the nurse's office.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And I had a good run up until Tom apparently caught wind and ended up calling me out and coming over to me and being like, well, you had a good run working the system, but you're going to have to go in there and learn how to do the butterfly.
Well, because you got to learn how to swim for safety.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I love that. So that was when you were older than a Navajo, or this is when you were with me?
This was...
Yeah, it wouldn't have been.
It was probably the summer following being a Navajo.
Yeah, okay. So when you were...
We were
just-
Micmacs with Katie Crowley.
Yes.
Okay, so
This was probably summer of Micmac.
to be clear, when you were in a troop or tribe at the time with 3 lifeguards on it, you were perfectly happy to go in the pool.
That's exactly right.
Only after you were no longer under our tutelage did you say, I don't like the water. I just want to make sure I have everything.
Absolutely.
All right, fantastic.
Let the record show.
Love it.
Yeah, for sure.
You were, how many weeks were you here for when you started? Was it just 2?
So that's a great question. So when I initially started, I was at, tie time, coming in hot. So when I initially started, it was Ty's first summer. Yeah, it was Ty's. I don't even know if Ty was necessarily here during my first summer. Okay. But I do distinctly remember I was a kid at Stony Brook Camp, and I wanted to do something different, right? Rival camp. And so I was like, I really want to do something a little bit different. We had gotten the flyers in the mail, and I was like looking at archery. I was like, I want to be that kid on the brochure. And so my mom's like, she was like, all right, like let's just sign you up for. We'll sign you up for one session. We'll see how it goes. And so that summer, I want to say it was 02, was my.
03.
Was 03. Okay, it was 03, and I was 3rd session camper only that year. Then I fell in love with it, and then after that, it was all 3 sessions.
So to be clear, your tribe was awesome. Yeah, you couldn't have picked a better group of kids to be in. Yeah.
Yeah, we had some of the greats, and a lot of those, I feel like a lot of those campers ended up really rising through the ranks and becoming CIT's assistants and heads.
Well, I'm looking at, you, Kat, Jen Friday, Alana, AJ's older than you, or younger. Sorry, excuse me. And some others.
and some others who may not be named at this present time. And we'll circle back to that.
Am I on camera right now?
You're not on camera.
Camera?
But you're on microphone. Yeah.
Hi, everyone.
Hi. Ty, do you remember Greg?
Yes, of course. I've driven him home in the past.
Oh, really?
A few times.
Ty and I had many powwows, and he was my. And what's also notable about that is that when I was a kid, my mom was she always wanted me to be like the little bubble boy, right? Like very overly protective. Didn't love me sitting in the front seat. But for Ty, she made the exception because Ty had an eclectic collection of clothing piled in the back of his Corolla. And so it was like, well, Mom, I hate to tell you, but I'm riding shotgun today. And she was like, for Ty, because I trust him, I'll let it slide.
I had that Corolla. Remember, it had like the duct tape to keep the trunk closed. There was like no mirror on either side, and then also earlier that summer we had tacos for cookout, and I stopped short, and all the taco meat fell into the very front seat of my car.
So I was riding on taco meat. The things we realized 20 years later.
I just scooped it right back in. But then the hot sun cooked it over the next few weeks.
Salivating.
Yeah.
Delicious.
I love that your mom is like, well, since the rest of the car is ultra safe, it's go ahead, sit in the front seat. That's amazing.
Gold star of approval.
So you said something. You mentioned Ty's Corolla. Yep. You could probably my like number one bullet point of Greg Kolber is like, oh, Greg, he knew what kind of car I drove. So
in 2003.
Yeah. So whose cars do you remember, and what were they?
Oh man, that's a good one.
Okay, let's start with Sarah.
So Sarah had a Geo Prism.
Of course.
Ty's blue Corolla, as we well know.
Katie Crowley's was pretty memorable.
I'm pretty sure she had a Jeep Wrangler.
Yep. Good job.
Had a Jeep Wrangler. Trisha had the Volvo S80, and she had the PRN 805 license plate. But who's counting? Let's see. I remember Courtney had an Oldsmobile Alaris. What else? Oh, Bonnie with the PT Cruiser. So Jack Cowell used to roll up in Tom Cowell's Lincoln LS. You've never seen a 17-year-old drive a nicer car, right? I was like, what is he doing for work? I thought they got paid in Butterfingers here. I mean, what is going on? Gosh, who else do we remember? I mean,
any of those is impressive.
off the top of my head, we'll circle back for whatever reason. I don't know.
But Greg, I did the same thing when I was a camper, like trying to identify
Who's going to be walking up,
yeah,
right?
Well, especially those first couple days, if you see a car of like, you're like, oh, my favorite counselor is back. Yeah, it's a big deal. And we do it now. We pull in, we go, oh, there's Ty's car. Oh, there's the Pansiacos. Oh, looks like Sarah DB's got a tie-dye peace sign on hers. Shea, where's your car?
And what kind of car do you drive?
Taurus.
Yeah, where's
My honest last leg sport Taurus.
Yeah.
Somebody gave me $300 for my move.
Nice.
good deal.
And I got a Subaru for like no money.
Nice.
But the catch was that it was covered in bumper stickers front and back.
For who?
Covered in bumper stickers,
Yeah.
including
Yeah. Like,
Including the front and back.
Oh, front and
This is
back.
a-
Okay.
Yeah. I got like.
What's the best-
There's like 4 right.
What was the best bumper sticker?
is the hokey pokey
Really what it's all
all
about?
about?
I used to say that all the time until my roommate was like, "You need to stop. It's not funny."
I've been recognized by my car like all over town now, like over and over again. This seems to happen. Oh, we saw you the other day. Your red Kia Soul.
I mean, it's not like you don't drive like a gray Camry. So yeah, that's my lasting memory of you, Greg.
That is phenomenal. The fact that you even recall that was like my signature thing is like.
So you started pretty early on being like, hey, saw you getting out of your, what's that, Geoprism? And I was like, yes, it is. And I love it. And like at the time.
Don't miss a beat, Greg.
Yeah. And I remember, I think I probably clarified. I'm like, it's just the body of a Toyota Corolla. It's whatever. And you were like, no, I know that. I felt a little insecure about it, but that was a great car. Great high school car. So after your first year where you did a session, were you one session next, or how soon did you jump into 6 weeks?
Oh, I did I dove in not at the pool. I didn't dive in head first because we obviously talked about that. But yeah, after my first session in 03, like my first session as the third session, I was like all 6 weeks after that as a camper, all through the ranks up until I was an explorer. I was absolutely hooked.
That's awesome. And then you were CIT. What areas did you work in?
So I was in archery with Christine Claffey, and I want to say, gosh, I might have had a short stint in adventure as well. Those are the two that I remember.
One sec. Who do we got? Freddie just did an amazing belly flop.
Yeah, just asking.
Much to the camp's delight. That was a pretty good belly flop.
It was a very good belly flop,
Yeah.
right off of the chin. I think that as an explorer, I want to say that my first year as a CIT was almost like Explorer Year 2, and I was more so just extending out my camper run, but without my parents having to pay for it. And as much as I loved it, I think it was a quick ride, right? It was kind of one and done, and then I went on to greener pastures, aka high school. Because I was 13.
I may not be pigeonholed after all.
Exactly right. But it was a phenomenal run while it lasted.
Yeah. So yeah, that brings us to, so we're sitting here with Kat, who you meet your first year at camp. You guys are in the same tribe the whole run through, and then now you guys are best friends. How does that happen?
How does that happen? Well, you don't talk for a decade.
So that's step one.
Yeah, so, yeah. So we also went to the same high school, but didn't talk at all in high school. Yeah, for 2 years.
I might have seen you in the hallway.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, I know, right? And then when we were juniors in college, Greg and my sister were taking the same accounting class. And Greg needed somewhere to live. We had not talked to Greg since he was a first-year CIT. And Caroline and I were moving in together, and Caroline came back one day and was like, so I think Greg Kolber is going to live with us next year.
That's okay with me.
And I was like, all right. I was like, I'm not sharing a room with anyone. She's like, yeah, me and Greg are going to share a room.
She was like, we don't even need a 3-bedroom. We'll just split it.
All right.
I was like, this is a fiscally responsible choice. Yes.
We managed to get ourselves into a 3-bedroom apartment, which was a godsend. And then, we were like, it's fine. We know Greg from camp.
Right.
Yeah. And so then Greg and I lived together for our senior year of college, and
That's amazing.
Here we are.
Now that Katie Crowley has walked in, which jogged my memory, I have this distinct memory from games, right, where Katie and Katie Sorensen are having this conversation about the importance of not touching your face. And I'm like, oh, why would that be? Like, why would you not want to touch your face? She's like, you don't want to touch your face because if you touch your face, you're gonna break out. And so she's like, at camp, like, it's not only about camp and archery and games, it's about life lessons, okay? And from that day on, I was like, gosh, like, I better whip out the Neutrogena on a regular basis and never touch my face aside from when I wash it twice a day. And like,
I'm literally touching my face.
and
right
like,
now.
by the way, I was all of like 11 years old, so this clearly was a formative memory that left a lasting impression.
I, to this day, do not abbreviate words and text messages because Sarah Fana was like, you use the whole word when you type.
We're not an info family, we're an information family. Yeah, that's it. Like, and it has this lasting impression.
That's amazing.
So anyway, back to you.
Well, that's funny because I've heard that story. Katie tells that story even when she's not right next to you. But yeah, she used to tell the kids. She also used to tell the kids. Well, Katie, tell us about when you were running Games/CC. Tell us what it would be like when the kids are at. Like, tell us the whole breakdown of games and camp communications.
This is actually really funny because I was just talking to Caitlin. She was asking me what I was the head counselor of, and I was like, oh, I started out as being the head counselor of theater. And I was like, man, thank God I wasn't behind Ty. And I was also the counselor of games. But at the time when I was the counselor of games, I brought camp communications with me. So camp communications, what's that?
Do they still do camp communications?
Oh, God, no, that died with me.
You saw the reading.
Very
Oh, yeah. It was so popular. People loved it on Fridays. Exhibit A.
Do you remember camp communications at all?
No, they brought it back for a couple years. Just when like the video counselors were editing, they were.
That's right.
Oh.
Okay.
When I was in video, we did that.
You were in video?
Yeah, for 1 year with my.
Ah, we're gonna have to dig into this.
Time capsule.
Yeah. So anyway.
Okay. So Camp Communications was the camp newspaper that we would publish the last Friday of camp, in which one year we did a color print, and Gail was not very happy about that one. But then the kids would come to me and they'd be like, oh, we have games today, because they come to games, twice a week? And I'd be like, oh, actually, you had games already, so here's your clipboard. I'm going to need you to go out and maybe interview some counselors or write a nonfiction story or come up with some riddles. Draw me a picture. It's going to be great. And I'll print it. Kids loved it.
But I remember during orientation, because originally camp communication was part of theater, and Katie went up to me and was like, no one really likes to do theater, so if you want to do camp communication as part of it, I was like, don't worry, I got this, guys. I've got a couple of tricks up my sleeves. They'll have a fun time.
And that's how it came together.
And so it ended up at games. Someone's got to communicate.
Well, I will say I would love to get my hands on one of those newspapers.
I have all of them.
Do you have them?
How would I not keep the newspapers I produced?
Oh, I would say everyone in this gazebo, do you have a stack of camp papers about 4 or 5 inches thick?
I also still have my clipboard that I used as a head counselor that I just I have no need. It just sits with my coloring stuff.
Yeah. Oh, you're
And then-
coloring stuff?
Yeah. And then I still have on my fridge, like, the enthusiasm is the spice of life is like, it's quite faded now, but it's on the fridge.
Well, words to live by. Does Sam give that one out? The enthusiasm quote? Nice. Is it attributed to Tom or Gordon Parks?
He'll start it off as like, well, this is something that Tom always would say, and now I do as well.
What were some of your favorite activities growing up?
Favorite activities. I was a big archery guy, but really because I lived and died looking to be able to take home an arrowhead. And so being able to bring that bullseye home and then have the arrowhead to show for it was a big personal satisfaction thing for me.
Did you get one?
I did, yeah. I still literally, in my parents' basement, presumably, there are probably a few old arrowheads hanging around. Awesome. Which, by the way, side note, do we still do that? Or have we transitioned into something else to reward bullseyes?
What do we do for bullseyes?
Metal necklace with like a target on it.
Stop, that's amazing.
Okay, so there's a nod to the original. It was a nice genuine arrowhead on a cotton bed in a little plastic box.
Who started the arrowhead? We only got stickers.
Really?
We got stickers that said, I got a bullseye.
Oh.
I never got a bullseye. I wouldn't know.
That's fine.
Yeah, ever since I was in archery, it was always an arrowhead.
Yeah. That's great.
And then I would say boating with Scott was...
Oh, Scott was your boating counselor?
Scott was my boating counselor. And for one summer, he was also my archery counselor at one point. There was a short stint, but my first summer as a Navajo, Scott was my boating counselor. And let the record be shown, actually, my first time ever in a canoe was here at FCDC. So I was very big into boating.
Yeah, well, I mean, boating's the best.
Boating's the best.
I think we can all agree. We've got Billy and John Rice joining us. So we got John Rice, who lives in Texas.
I do.
And you have 2 kids here.
I do.
Second year, right, that they've been campers?
Third year for Patrick, first year for Ruby.
Okay. Are they like, get me back to Texas? How do they like it?
No, they love it here.
They love it?
That's nonstop activity, day and night.
I love that.
And weekends, and mornings, and every other possible second of every single day.
Well, it's in their blood.
Broadcast, so stop yelling.
As you get all here at home, nothing's changed.
Nope.
John, and you're up here working remotely. Where are you working from?
I have various locations that I use as my office currently. Gail's office is one of them. Gail's house is another one. Billy's house is another one. Shannon's house is another one.
Nice.
That about wraps it up.
Do you think, because I know someone's going to ask you, any chance we could ever get you back here working?
Work? No,
Oh,
probably not working.
No.
Working would be tough.
Yeah.
Getting 6 weeks off while getting paid would be a little...
It's tricky. Although yet here you and I both are. To be clear.
I can pull 2.5 weeks off.
Yeah.
Remote.
Hey, who were you counselor with? Was it Shannon Delaney?
Shannon Delaney.
Yeah, you guys
For the
were
most part.
What tribe were you in?
Shawnees?
Shawnees, right.
Shawnees.
Together?
Yeah, for a couple of years.
Yep. Because I remember we would get your campers. So they'd go through Shannon and John, come up to Carly, Danielle, and myself, go on to Katie Crowley, and then to Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice little run. Nice little run.
I was just the, what do they call it? Like the rag doll. They would just dress me up as goofy things. And
you were the only guy at the pool,
true.
right?
Yeah, for a little while there. I think there was one guy at one point or another. I don't remember. Is Corey ever a lifeguard? No? Cedarquist? No? I feel like he was a lifeguard for a little bit.
Yeah.
Early on.
Yeah.
But then it was me and a bunch of girls, yeah.
Yeah. Not a bad spot.
No,
for you.
not terrible. I never complained.
So when you moved to Texas for work, right?
Yeah.
So that first, you had stopped working here before moving, right?
Yes, because when I went to school, my freshman year was the only year that I had a normal summer, like no work or school activity.
Northeastern, right? Yeah.
Starting sophomore year, I had to work.
Yeah.
Scott
Howe.
Scott Howe.
Scott Howe in the house. Yeah. It was amazing.
What is this?
We're doing a podcast.
We're live podcasting.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Welcome.
You have a podcast? Saw this. This is amazing.
To quote Ty, ask her about it.
Hey, Jonah, look at Dad when I was handsome. You look skinny like you.
Yeah.
What
What do you mean? You still look the
shoulder
same.
shrug.
I was before
Greg,
I drank all
you
those
remember
cans
John?
of milk and got this.
I remember John being around. I don't know if you were like guest starring and visiting while I was a camper. I definitely remember seeing you. Like,
Probably.
I
What years
remember
was it?
seeing you mowing the lawn on the tractor.
All
like
the years that I was here, he was there.
Well, you started as a Navajo, so you would have missed him as your counselor.
That's why. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And then he was probably here a few more years after that, I would think.
03 or 04 was my last year. I can't remember exactly.
Okay. Yeah, me too. It's
Right.
so
Northeastern year, right?
Yeah, my one Northeastern year at college, and then I was off.
What was it like having to not be like at camp as someone who literally grew up here? Like, Gail's your grandmother, for everyone who doesn't know.
It's different, especially because my brother works here. My sister was still here for a while. My mom was still working here for a while. So I'd still get pictures and stories, and
Right.
then you come back and not know anybody.
Yeah, yeah. That's a humbling day.
Yeah,
You're
you're like, I don't know anybody here anymore.
Right. And they're like,
Besides,
is that Billy?
yeah.
Oh, it's not Billy.
Kelly, Sam, the regulars. But
Yeah. It is nice, though, having, like, a couple of people to, like, tether you to the past, which is, I think, kind of helps with the whole, like, camp feeling of everything. Because, I don't know any of these kids right now, but you can be like, but I know Kelly. Right?
Yep.
I know Sam. Like, I know that.
She's our anchor.
Yeah, I know that I'm in a safe spot right now, so that works.
Yeah, we like pulled in, and I was like, we have to find Kelly.
Yeah.
Sarah, she's not here. We will find Kelly right this instant.
Yeah. And people just assume they're like, oh, they're probably here. And it's fine. Yeah. Not to worry.
I think I know more, not know them, but kids of like parents, like your kids.
Yep.
My cousin Aaron's kids.
Yep.
I'm just a couple other kids that. Oh, I know your parents. I
Right. Yeah.
I don't know your counselors, but I know your parents.
Shannon Delaney.
Yeah,
Katie
Shannon
Crowley.
Crowley.
Yep. There's
Bill
a bunch
Daner's kids are here some
Yep.
capacity, right?
That's right.
Counselors
Yeah. CIT assistant. CIT. Yeah. Yeah. Susie's kids. Yeah. Yeah.
That's probably more wild for me. There's so many kids here that their parents I knew.
I know.
Triple generations. We've got grandkids now too.
Grandkids.
Grace from the nurse.
Oh, right.
Who? Oh, Gilmore.
Margie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
I do have a distinct memory at Ty's place where
Put that closer to you.
we had been painstakingly choreographing this dance that we were doing for the Cherokees to Outkast Bombs Over Baghdad.
Oh.
And that was really, for me, that was one of my most fun memories from camp. Just like the anticipation of like doing this, like this song, and like that, like it was a big deal. It was on the radio, it was everywhere you went at the time. And then bringing it to camp and having Ty like bring it to life and the whimsy of that, I just thought was like the coolest thing ever. I was
can you
like
comment on
maybe
the
12
whimsy?
years
I don't
old.
remember it very much, but it just flooded right in. Yes, I just remember it was just a lot of like butt slapping.
Flailing our arms all over the place. Yeah. But at the time, it seemed like very sophisticated and planned out, right? Like,
Hey.
You're professional after all.
who's to say?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I have a reputation to uphold.
Nice. What else do you have on your list
what's
there?
on your list, Greg?
He's got a list.
Back to the old list. Yeah,
The
but he's
best
counting.
podcasts always have a list.
So I don't know if we still do this, but this is another Thai-ism. But I remember we took, instead of a woodlore hut, we did, it was a Pizza Hut, Kentucky Fried Chicken, McDonald's, and a Pizza Hut. We
It
had,
started off as that song. I brought that song to camp, and then it became a Woodlore Hut.
You gotta get Shannon Rice over here.
Jump on the
Come here.
podcast, Shannon?
Come here, Shannon. How are your kids enjoying camp?
Great.
Yeah.
Great, yeah.
You got extra tenderfoot year?
We have an extra tenderfoot year.
Yeah.
We're a little
two,
too
right?
young. Yeah, it might be 2, so she might make it through. 1 extra tenderfoot and a mohawk and a pueblo, because I don't know the other names.
So you get that benefit of getting extra amount of camp, but you guys also get the benefit of all the cousins really getting to know each other.
Yes.
That's awesome. Yes. Like you come up for 4 weeks a year. That's amazing. And that you've got two in the same troop, right? In the tadpoles, and then that
Right now we do.
yeah.
They're next year. Her daughter will stay in tadpoles.
Tadpole, yeah.
Mine will go to whatever the pup or.
Can't go wrong. A little extra Pansiaco year. Can't go wrong with it. That's fine.
Poor Elizabeth, she's got all of them. First 3 days of camp, everyone was just hovering. We're like, sorry, Elizabeth.
No.
You're up
You better be on top of it.
Parents nonstop swinging by.
Yeah, you know every single move of that.
Right?
Yeah.
This is Elizabeth. She's,
Hey, you were the nurse for a number of years, weren't you?
I think 2.
Is it
Yeah,
2?
I think it was 2.
How was that? Did you go right as a counselor to being a nurse, or did you take any time off? Because you're actually a nurse. You're an NP, right?
I'm an MP, yeah.
Only the best here at camp. Cap for the record is a doctor.
Right?
We've got all of that. We're in good hands.
I'm all here.
Yeah.
No, I went from counselor to the nurse. And then once I became an NP, I had to get a real job.
So Mary Pansiaco told the story that she had you as a counselor and loved you, of course, and she was then at the nurse all the time the next year looking for Band-Aids and Freezy Pops. Did you, we were talking about this. Did you use the Band-Aids with
That were fun.
the fun Band-Aids?
Yes.
Did you have Freezy Pops in there?
When I was at Cheyenne, I jumped in the pool with my underwear on instead of my bathing suit, and I cried in Shannon's nurse's office all day.
Oh, hold on. We've got one from Mike Cowell.
Hi, Mike Cowell here. Welcome to the pod. When I was a video counselor, we tried to get Shannon to act really mean to a camper for a skit, and she was incapable of it. We were like, please yell at this camper and tell him to get out. She was like, get out of here, with a huge smile on her face. And we were like, cut it, print it, perfect, thank you.
That sounds about right. Just the smile and the laugh. Yeah.
I feel like I remember Mary, and I think Maura, too, did the same. She would come, every time she had swimming, she'd come and have some ailment that she couldn't get in the pool. And I just let her do it. Right? I'm like, I don't see that cut, but we can get a Band-Aid. That's fine.
Okay. Yeah. Did you do Freezy?
I have unlimited budget. It's fine.
Mary, I kind of added you to Shannon, but why don't you tell us about the first year Shannon was a nurse and your amount of visits to the nurse's office?
Oh yeah, I forgot. Did we talk about this in our? Yeah, no. I just remember always I went at least 5 times a day. It was an issue. Yeah, no. I just remember going so many times in a day that Molly the archery. She was walking me around. She made an announcement, circle, and I was and then I got talked to by my dad after, and he was like, "You have to stop going."
Greg and Kat, what do you remember about my cookouts?
I remember breaking the spoon making the mac and cheese that one time.
Yeah, I do remember that.
I remember it. You can't put all the cheese in at once.
Yeah.
I remember the blue juice was
No.
that
I
was just the
remember.
that was
we
the
were
best
only
stuff.
allowed to ask 3 questions. That's what I remember.
Oh,
There was
yes.
there was a question limit, which couldn't possibly come from me, but yeah, we had, and then we were usually doing our skit.
That's right.
Yeah.
We'd start planning our skit at that point. Yeah.
Food on point though, and we'd always have the we would start each meal with, you'd get chips and cookie, you'd get the half chocolate, half vanilla cookie, because if you were eating cookies, you couldn't be asking questions.
That was my, that was my philosophy: is sit them down, give them something to eat so they're happy,
Right.
And then cook a delicious meal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then plan the skit. Yeah.
And then do the skit.
And then do the skit. Yeah. And the or sometimes the skit was on the walkout. Because we were in the far, like, if you go back to the left, we were way back. And then, so we had, 7 or 8 minutes to plan the skit, which is nice. Bonus time.
Is it really only, if you asked me when I was in Navajo how far away our campsite was, I would have told you like a mile
Like 2 miles, yeah. It's so far. Who's back there now?
Rachel.
And how long does it take to get there? Because it's probably not 45 minutes.
Well, and you're carrying like a shovel.
Yeah.
Wait, you put a newbie out there?
Nice.
Oh, Ethan's out there. Oh, he doesn't know any better. I thought you were saying it was Rachel and Mike, and I was like, well, that makes sense. You can have them walk. They won't complain about it, but trial by fire, I guess, for Ethan. All right, we're gonna wrap it up. We all done?
Yeah.
All right. It was an absolute privilege.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thank you
Sarah.
everyone for joining. This was a lot of fun. We'll do it again.